Can anyone please confirm if I'm audible? Fine. Can you just give me a moment? So, thank you so much, team, for joining. First of all, good evening, everybody. My name is Roshni. I'm the founder and CEO of C Accord Information Private Limited. So, to give a little introduction about myself, I have been an alumni of KLU 2012 master, and I have started my career in IT after 2012. I've developed my interest in IT services after starting my job journey. There is an ease of life that is happening through IT. How we are achieving it? What are the things that we can make the technology get into each and every sector, every industry that can ease the life, and how can we bring out the solutions? Here, I wanted to stand up this organization named CA Here, we provide all the solutions where whatever the problems we are facing and how can we automate the things, how can we bring solutions to each and every industry. I wanted to put up this organization named CA. So, to give a little introduction of CA, what is it? Name seems to be little new. How are we achieving it in CA? So here I wanted to give the meaning of the accord, which says every diamond is yielded from carbon. So I wanted to make sure the finest output, which is like diamond, is coming from a raw material. So whatever the industries, whatever the problem is, whatever the issues that we face in our daily life, it can be eased, and there can be a fine output. That is how C accord is born, and it is in front of you. Today, if you are looking how if you are looking, everyone says AI ML. What is this AI and ML exactly? Everyone says I have seen AI, I have used AI, and it is there in my phone. My phone says hi, hi, and my Siri is responding to whatever questions I'm asking. Every industry, every machinery is providing solutions that I'm looking for. How is it happening? How is it achieved? So we have brought up a solution saying that how objects, we have taken one part of artificial intelligence for object detection. Here what we'll be doing is we will be providing a use case of how object is being detected, and how it is how it is implemented, and how artificial intelligence is born from different era, and how it is bringing up the solutions. Here I introduce AI and ML in front of you through my colleagues standing in front, and will try to make everyone enlighten how AI is getting in our life, how we are using in every place, and how we are achieving it. I wanted to share along with my colleagues, Mr. Sai and Mr. Jagdish, along with me. And I would like to ask Sai to continue the conversation and take it from here.
Yeah, I hope it's audible now.
So, in the year of 1950, we started building the Turing machines. So, the task of these Turing machines are whether if we are going to provide any input to the machines, that one is going to respond in a faster way, right? Whether the major task is to make a decision whether it is going to answer, it is an answer, I mean, true or false. Later in the year of 1956, a conference was held by Dartmouth. So the famous scientist John McCarthy, introduced the concept of artificial intelligence into the syllabus. So later in the 1966, a first chatbot was developed named Eliza, which can answer to the human queries by using the text recognition kinds of techniques. Then in the year of 1972, an artificial intelligence bot was developed. It is named as WABOT 1, that was developed in the year of 1972 in Japan. It was the initial robot that has humanoid power. So in the year of 1974 to 1980, what happened is the government, it's a winter season, but the government stopped the funding for the development team. So due to the non-funding, the artificial intelligence team was not that able to focus uh, on the development and research. Then in the year of 1980, uh, after the first AI winter, they came up with an expert system with few algorithm techniques. It was proved around 38 of 53 algorithms was run successful in this expert system. Then again, we got a second AI winter in this one. In this part, I mean, in the year of 1987 to 1993, again, the investors and as well as the government sectors stop funding these kinds of artificial intelligence research centers. And this made a drawback because they are not finding that output from the research team. So they stopped funding. But in the year of 1997, the IBM developed a Deep Blue computer. So it was the first machine that beat the human. I mean, with the famous chess player, uh, his name was, I exactly don't remember. It beat the human intelligence also. So in the year of 2002, a Roomba named vacuum cleaner was invented. So it was able to detect the dust around the surface and clean it out. Then in the year of 2011, IBM again got with a quiz system. Here what happened is, yep, sorry. Yep. So this Watson system, the capability of this Watson system is if we pose few questions to the human and as well as to the machine, like some kinds of riddles. So the machine was able to answer much quicker than the human. The machine was that simple, far enough to crack those kinds of riddles. So in the year of 2012, Google introduced Google Ask in the mobile phones, in our smartphones, so that can answer for the queries that we have posed. And in the year of 2014, again one more chatbot got invented. It's named as Eugene. So it is also this machine also passed the Turing test for the questions that are posed by the human. And 2015, and here Amazon brought a big artificial intelligence algorithm that will answer to the human queries, that will understand the human language and convert it to, and finally produce the output to the human in the human language itself. So in the year of 2016, again, one more humanoid robot got invented by the Hanson's Industries. So it was named as Sophia. And this is the only machine that is having the visa to travel around the world for now. In the year of 2018, again, Google developed some bird kind of algorithm. And 2020, and AI got developed GPT models. Now, so far, so we are having 3 GPT algorithms. Now the version is of GPT-3. It's the word GPT resembles generative pre-trained transformer. So these models were able to transform the text to speech or speech to text. And the future, regarding the future predictions, the artificial intelligence will grow up in a way that there will be no specific coding required. The machines will able to learn themselves how to code and how to behave with the humans. Yep. One sec. Yep. So artificial intelligence. So far from the previous history, what can we understand is we are providing the machines the capability to understand the human behavior, and as well as it should make up a decision based upon the actions that we are going to perform or the queries that we are going to raise for the machines. So the artificial intelligence will be having some few subsets: machine learning and deep learning. So actually artificial intelligence completely deals with the algorithms part. The machine learning will completely deals with the models and few kinds of algorithms. And then going deeper into the deep learning concepts, there will be the much more depth concepts like neural networks. These kinds of concepts will be there in the deep learnings. Okay, the major areas where the artificial intelligence is in the natural language processing kinds, text to speech kinds of recognitions, and mostly in the computer visions that we are going to talk in the next slides. So CRISP-DM, what does that mean? It sounds weird. So CRISP mean cross industry standard production for data mining. So what kind of techniques that will be going on in this? Here you can see we have a cycle kind of thing. So here in the initial stage, in the business understanding, what we are going to do is, firstly we'll be gathering the requirements from the user, from the client. Then we will be creating then we'll be creating how many employees we are going to work on these kinds of projects, how much cost will be there for this project, these kinds of understandings, and the end goal of this project will be comes under this phase. Then based upon the requirement, then we'll be collecting the data. So we'll be collecting the data in two forms, like primary and secondary. In the primary one, what we are going to do is we will be utilizing the data that we are having now. Like let's say we are having few data sets readily available. So those kinds of data sets will be comes under primary. And coming to the secondary, so as in the secondary, we will be not having any kinds of data with us. So what we are going to do is, so we will be creating the data. Let's say we will be conducting few kinds of polling sessions or any form filling kinds of sessions. So we'll be collecting the entire data from the user, and then we'll be sending it to the next phase called data preparation. So in data preparation, how we are going to segregate the data means, so we'll be eliminating the missing values, the null values, and the data that is not required for us. Entire transformation techniques will be performed here. Then in the model, okay, for this data that is gathered so far, so we'll be developing few modeling techniques. Those kinds of modeling techniques involves a few algorithms like regression algorithms and linear algorithms. Based upon the requirement, we'll be choosing the algorithm and we'll be developing the model. Then we'll be sending it for the evaluation. So in this evaluation technique, so based upon the model that we have developed so far, so what we are going to do is how much efficient results it is going to provide. Let us say I have developed an algorithm, and by using the data that I have, I'll be providing few test data to that algorithm. So how efficiently it is going to predict. Those kinds of evaluation techniques will be performed in this phase. Then it is ready for the deployment and it is live for everyone. Yeah. So for doing the machine learning and the artificial intelligence, what are the prerequisites? What we need to know? The programming languages that we need to that we have familiar about, Python and Ruby. So these two languages, anyone can be chosen up based upon your interest. And we also need few statistical algorithms. I mean, in sense of statistical mathematical calculations, those kinds of need to be known by us. Those concepts involve linear algebra, probability, differentiation, and yep, integration kinds of. More techniques are there. So these are the basic foundations for starting with. And even we should definitely have one system with a proper configuration. Yep. And so what are the algorithms that we are going to see in the artificial intelligence and deep learning concepts? So we are having generally three kinds of algorithms: supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning. So what is supervised learning? So let me explain it with a simple example. Here you can see there are three apples, and we are having few annotations that we are mentioning it as an apple. So we are providing the apple images to the model, and we are specifying it as an apple. So when and we'll be training this model with these kinds of images, multiple images, and label to it. So after getting trained, if we provide any image to the model, then the model should be able to predict what kind of image it is. So this comes under supervised learning. So we are telling the machine, so this is this, and this particular product is named as this one. So we are supervising the machine step by step. Coming to unsupervised learning. So in this, if we let's go with an example again. So here we are providing multiple images, different kinds of root images to the model. So then the model that is created is going to segregate each and every image into its group. So here, as you observe, there are multiple groups for each and every particular image. Then we are going to label it. So then if we are going to provide any testing image for that one, let's say I'm providing apple to it. So based upon the region that is available for that apple, it is going to define it as an apple. So reinforcement learning. So in this one, what we are going to do is, here we are not going to specify any this is apple, this is banana, like these kinds of examples or labeling systems. We are not going to provide anything for that one. So here what is going to happen is, we will be placing the algorithm in a virtual environment. So by default, whenever the algorithm is making some particular actions, then we are going to rank that one. Give me a second. Yep. So we'll be ranking it based upon the actions that it has took around. And how does the workflow goes? So as we've seen in the CRISP DM diagram, so in this, as the same process, we'll be gathering the data and we'll be sending it from the data preprocessing to fill the missing values as well as the null values, and removing the unnecessary data. So then we'll be building one model. So based upon the requirement only, we are going to choose the algorithm that we are going to use, and we'll be developing it. Then okay, now the model got generated. How should we know whether the model is working fine or not? So what we are going to do is, let's take some bulk amount of data. So I'll split the data into three sets. One is training data, one is testing data, and one is validation data. So firstly, I'll train the data. Let's say 100% of data is available with me. So I'll be I'll train this model that is developed with 60% of data, and I will again provide remaining 20% of data as a validation data. Then the remaining percentage that is having will be provided as a test data. So after getting trained on the 60% data, then I'll make a validation by using some part of the data that we are having for validation. Here we'll be finding how much accurately the model is going to predict, how much efficiency is the algorithm is. And finally, we are going to provide the test data and we'll get the result and evaluation. So here, like I said, right, we'll be testing the efficiency and as well as the performance of the algorithm, whether this algorithm best suits for this one or we should go with another algorithm. We'll be choosing it. So finally, we'll be deploying it on the server so that can be accessible to everyone. And the applications that we are using, the artificial intelligence is, so the artificial intelligence is now in health sector, healthcare and fitness industries, finance industries, sales and marketing industries, manufacturing industries, even in predictive analysis, some automotive industries, education sector, and agriculture sector. So in healthcare and fitness. So what kind of applications that we are having so far in the healthcare industries? So let me consider some patient is went to the doctor and entire his documents are getting his body's got scanned, and based upon the results the doctor will be saying some information to the bot. So what the bot is going to do here is it will be analyzing the words that are received from the doctor and will be giving some prescription of the medicines that the person should be, the patient should use. So these kinds of advanced technologies are also available in the healthcare industries. And predictive analytics. So based upon the reports of the patient, the algorithm that we have wrote are going to scan the each and every report of the patient, and it will automatically detect whether he is going to have any kidney kinds of failures in the future or heart attacks, whether he is going to get any heart attacks based upon the current situation that he is having. So these kinds of predictive analytics are also there in the healthcare. Coming to fitness, yep. So we'll be having gyms and everything. So we may be doing in, some people will do it in righter way under guidance, and some people will do in wronger way. So even the mobile applications are capable enough to analyze the position that you have made. I mean, we'll be doing exercises and gyms, right? So the correct posture should be there, right? So these kinds of posture detections are also done by using the OpenCV algorithms that are readily available for the artificial intelligence. So few algorithms that we are going to use in these kinds of industries are regression algorithms, super vector machine, artificial neural, random forest, and some few BERT algorithms. And these are mainly, BERT algorithms are mainly focuses on recognizing or conversion. So in order to recognize the speech from the user and convert the speech that the user is giving, and it can be converted to text. Now the text, initially it was only able to convert it to the English. Now it can be converted to their native languages also. That kinds of advanced algorithms are implemented. Finance sectors. So finance, in the let's consider a banking. So banks will provide the loans to the customers, right? So the algorithm should, the algorithms that are available are now able to detect whether we need to provide any loans to the particular person or not. It will be analyzing the previous banking histories of the person, whether he already took any loans in some other banks, whether he is paying it properly or he is maintaining any credit score. So by considering all these situations, this machine is going to, this algorithm is going to predict the loan can be approved or not, and ham and spam detection. So we all people will be using emails, right? So in that one we will be getting few spam emails, so we don't know initially whether it is a spam one or not. So what Google algorithms are going to do is, based upon the few keywords that are being used in that mail, the algorithm itself is going to parse entire email and then detect whether it is a spam one or a nicer one. So if it is a spam, then we'll be moving it to the spam section. And even we'll be having data analytics. Each and every data that is available in the finance sectors are used for data analytics. Based upon these analytics, the banks can decide in which sectors, in which areas they can improvise, or any improvements needed. So these kinds of things, decisions can be made. And customer retention program. So based upon the users, let's say they are female or male, what kind of let's say what kind of offers they can provide based upon the transactions that they have, so far they have done. So can we what we say increase the limit? Let's say our credit cards will be there, so we'll be using to particular limit. So after reaching to particular limit, so if the customer repays the due properly, then by analyzing those data, immediately the customer retention kinds of algorithms they're going to do, they'll be sending a report to the persons whether we can improve the card limit or not. So marketing, and based upon the app usages and the responses and the offer that he has opened, automatically the algorithms will be generating a report so that the user is interested in this area. And customer sentimental analysis. So answering to the queries of each and every person is not that possible to the employees, right? So what we are going to do is, in few banking websites, we'll be having chatbots, artificial intelligence chatbots. So if we pose any queries to the chatbot, so it is going to provide those kinds of offers or deals for you. So sales and marketing. So everyone are interested in watching movies. So before going to watch a movie, we will be definitely looking at the reviews, whether it is good or not. So these kinds of rating algorithms are also available. So what these rating algorithms are going to do is, firstly, it will gather the comments, either that they are good or bad. It will be gathering all the comments from the user, I mean, the data that we are provided, and based upon the few keywords, initial keywords, the good keywords or bad keywords, we will be providing those kinds of keywords initially. So based upon the keywords, it is going to rate that movie, that particular movie. That is not only for the movies, for kind of foods, products, online shopping products, everything. Market basket analysis. So what market basket analysis will do is, so let's say we'll be going into the mart, and if you observe, let's say if you have milk packets over there, then in the next beside you will be saving breads, sugars, tea powders, coffee kinds of thing. So there is a relationship between one product to another product. So these kinds of analysis, I mean, finding the relationship between the two products will be done by market basket analysis. Even predictive forecasting. Let's say 5 to 600 or greater than 500 people are daily visiting a supermarket and purchasing the products. So these kinds of algorithms, predictive forecasting related kinds of algorithms, will be generating a report. So these are the items that are sold this month or this week. Then we can estimate these products will be having much more sale for the next week. AI and our and A are for product view and buy. So I hope you all seen the recent Flipkart update for the artificial reality. So in that one, we can see the 360-degree view of a product from the top, down, left side, and each and every view can be seen. So these kinds of are can be done by using the artificial augmented reality. Sorry. And artificial intelligence usage in the manufacturing sector. So, so we'll be generating, I mean, we'll be producing multiple, so many products in a day. So identifying each and every product, whether it is damaged or not, and how the performance of that product is. By human, it's not that simple. So we'll be using the machines that are filled with artificial intelligence. Yep. So what these kinds of algorithms are going to do means it is going to look over the each and every project and product and detect the product. I mean, whether there is any defective kind of product is there or the performance is not that good by using the OpenCV algorithms available. And yep, even in the agriculture sector also we are using this artificial intelligence. So mainly in finding out the nutrients in the plants and various kinds of diseases that the plants are getting day by day. It is going to analyze each and every tree, plant. Then by analyzing the problem of the plant, it is going to also define what amount of pesticides we can use, what can we use. So these kinds of techniques can also be done, and weed sprayers. So now the pesticides are manually thrown by the human. So that is the human don't know how much he should provide pesticides for that entire farming land. So what the drones are going to do is we'll be specifying some particular region. So in that region only, the drone is going to spray the pesticides over the plant. And even soil restoration technique. By using these kinds of techniques, the soil is getting so much of polluted. So in order to restore that one, we will be having few restoration techniques that are also specified by the AI. Even the robots are capable enough to do the cultivation by eliminating the weed from these kinds of farming and observing each and every plant every day and the condition and the moisture in the land. So these kinds of things can be done by using that bots. So artificial intelligence in automotive industries and robotics. So we have seen so far that Tesla has developed self-driving cars. So how the driving, cars are able to drive itself without any human intervention. So what it is going to do, so these kinds of, our topic is on object detection, right? So the algorithms that are fed into the car are going to observe each and every object from the camera and going to analyze what it is and what kind of action should I perform when I found these kinds of, let's say if it found red light, then it need to be stopped, green light, it can move. If there is a left in turn left kinds of indication things, whether I need to turn or not, these kinds of decisions are automatically taken by the self-driving cars. Even in the security systems. So we'll be having few door lock systems with if the person is already registered and the camera is able to capture the person's image and compile it, then it is going to take a decision whether I need to allow this person inside or not. These kinds of technology is also available. Parcel segregation. So coming to parcel segregation, so we'll be receiving multiple parcels. Let's say Amazon or Flipkart, we'll be having so many orders. So based upon by scanning the QR code or barcode on the scan on the products, it is able to segregate whether this parcel is for this particular area. So it will be splitting accordingly. So it will be shifting that parcel to its respective section. Yep. And yep. From here, my colleague Jagdish, who is a machine learning engineer in our company, is going to handle. Jagdish, you can continue.
Good evening, one and all. So, as our colleague explained about the basic of artificial intelligence, and what is the meaning of machine learning, and the main basic framework of any AI projects or any ML projects, that is CRISP-DM, Cross Industry Standard Process for Data Mining. Right. So I am here to explain about one of the most important topic in artificial intelligence is object detection. Right. So first we need to know what is the meaning of object detection. Right. So before going to that one, we need to know what is meaning of the neural network, because this is the most basic one with respect to artificial intelligence, that is the neural network. Okay, so before that we need to know how human brains are working, right? So just I would like to ask one question. If you are in the childhood stage, if someone asks, so what is this one, so if they show tree and what is this one means, so can you answer for that one? Most of the children's are not, right? So why it is happening like that? Because our mind is not training on that particular data, right? So when you're growing up, automatically your mind is training each and every second of your life, right? So it is simply training with respect to some data, right? So automatically after 10 years or 12 years, automatically if someone asks, "Oh, what is this one?" Is we can easily answer for that one, because daily our mind is training and those weights are getting incorporated into our mind. Okay, so here human beings are easily recognize the objects, but how we need to convert that human intelligence to the artificial intelligence, right? So this is the most complex thing in today's life. Okay, so if you see the human brain, so generally it consists of some neurons, so millions of neurons are there in human brain. Okay, so one neuron which is connected to the another neuron, so those neurons are totally interconnected. Okay, if someone is asking something, automatically that information will transfer to our neuron, and whatever the information present in our neuron, so that will it will give an output, and we can easily speak out, and we can easily detect the particular object. Like, so these are like a natural neurons. Okay, so by birth only we are having these neurons, but from our childhood stage it is not trained on a particular data, right? So it is totally not trained on particular data. But in artificial neuron, so it has developed, it has invented in the year of 1943. So artificial neuron, so you can take, this is the neuron. So what it consists of inside, so what happens inside the neuron here? Each and every neuron, each and every artificial neuron consists of two components. One is the summation or the integration function, second one is the activation function, right? So input, someone is asking the question, that is input, right? So for that output, what should be their output? So if someone asks, so what is that one means, we need to say, or we need to give the output as, so that is tree, that is our output. Okay, so to do that one, to recognize that object, there must be some mathematical computation inside the neuron. Okay, so that all process will be taken care by using that summation function or the activation function, and another one is the summation, integration, or the activation function here. Okay, so you can see here we are giving some input, we are giving input here. Okay, so input, that is the question someone is asking, and input function which is having some weights and input values. Okay, so here it is calculating each and everything, that may be summation, that may be linear, that may be integration, that may be differentiation, something it will do. So from this function we are getting some value, right? So those values it will be sent to the activation function. So again, in the activation function, there are many types of activation functions. So generally, in this object detection, we are using the softmax as a activation function. So other than softmax, we are having linear activation function, a ramp activation function, step ramp activation function, and ReLU, leaky ReLU, like that. So we have so many types of activation functions. So based on our requirement, we need to choose the activation function. So this is the main concept. Just try to remember this one. Okay, so let's move towards the most important topic in AI is object detection. So what is the meaning of this one first? Object detection. So it is a computer vision technique. Okay, so which identifies or locates the object in an image or in a video, right? Or if you ask someone, just showing that particular image, if you ask someone, and so which are all the objects present in this image, means the human beings can easily reply for that one. But what about the artificial intelligence model, right? So instead of saying here, so it is simply creating or generating some bounding box around that particular object, and we can also label that one with respect to the probability values. Take an example, in a particular image, there is a hat. It is showing the 0.9%, 0.9 probability this is the hat. Means 90% this is hat. Right. So before going to that one, as my colleague explained about the STC car, in automotive industry, STC cars are there, self-driving cars. So inside the self-driving car, so what is happening? Right, self-driving car means it is without human being, right? So how it is going to detect the signal, how it is going to detect the vehicles, bikes, or the person which are crossing over there, crossing the road, like that. So how it is taking the self decision, that so I need to go left, I need to go right, like that, right? So how it is happening? So just first we will look into one simple video. So what happens inside the self-driving car here? Okay, you can see here. So this is totally inside the it is totally inside the self-driving car here. So you can see here, just let me open that video once again. Okay, so you can see here inside the self-driving car, so it is easily to detect. So this is the car, right? Here some signals are there, here some person is moving there, and it can detect the white lines which are there on the road. So based on these, so these are like a marker for the self-driving car, right? So it is easily detect. So how it is happening inside that one, right? So it is totally like a black box technique. So we cannot see inside things what is happening inside the neural network or in this STC car. So this is simple example here. So how this STC cars are working, and how neural network is working inside the STC car. Okay, so can we do only image recognition with respect to object detection? Absolutely no. Right? So we are doing some image classification by using some algorithms. We can do some image classification. Right? Some persons are there, and some cars are there. So is it possible to classify these are only persons, these are only cars? Yes, it is absolutely possible. So object localization, where that particular object is set, object detection, and object segmentation. This is the most wonderful and interesting topic. So we are going to cover in the future slides. Okay. So let's go with practical application. So can we apply this OD application to all the domains, right? Absolutely yes. So how? Take an example in the medical image analysis. Right, so if you go to the hospital and take a x-ray or something like that. Okay, so in that x-ray we are getting some dark dots and the light dots, right? So here what we are doing in AI, we are collecting only the white dots and the dark dots. Okay, so we are making some data set with respect to those area, and we are training our model, AI model, with respect to only that data initially. Right, so what happening, the model is training and training, it is getting trained with respect to only that particular data. And if you give some input image to that model, automatically it is easily recognize that okay, this input is the, it is labeling that one, the input is that will be labeled. Right. So like that we are doing in case of medical image analysis and facial recognition in the airport for the check-in experience and visual product search. Right. So we are getting the product, that particular product in the retail markets. Right? Behavior tracking. So based on the person's behavior, like whether the person is sad, person is crying, whether he is happy, right? So like that, we can easily recognize by using the artificial intelligence models. And smart cities. So we are using these algorithms in smart cities. And so how? Right. So you can see automatic number plate recognition. So instead of manual working, simply if you keep some camera into the respective place, and if someone is crossing the road, or someone is doing some wrong things. Okay. So automatically it is, the camera is recognizing the number plate of that particular vehicle, and it is recording each and everything. Right. So traffic monitoring and vehicle counting. So if you want to know how many vehicles are moving, how many vehicles are moving in that particular road, so manually it is not possible. Yeah, it may be possible, but it is totally time taking process. So instead of that one, I'm going to fix some camera over there, and I'm installing this algorithm to that camera. So what happens there? Automatically, if the big vehicle is moving, yes, it is going to count it as one. Another bike is moving, yes, it is one. Second bike, two, like that. For each and every vehicles, it is going to collect. It is going to count, right? So it is absolutely, it is very easier than the manual one, right? So in these places, generally we are using the object detection. So next topic is, which are all the algorithms are playing a vital role with respect to object detection. All right, the most and important algorithm is our CNN. Okay, in the deep neural network we are having three types of neural networks: artificial neural network, convolutional neural network, and the recurrent neural network. Generally we are having, but CNN is only deals with image processing and video analytics always. Okay, so and the recurrent neural network, it is always dealing with the textual format. So textual thing, if you want to do means, so general we are going with RNN. Okay, so that is apart from our topic. So just we are going to discuss with CNN, convolutional neural network. So as we have discussed already, we know what is, how this neural network is working. Okay, so what is the meaning of this C here, right? So convolution. Okay, so we are going to discuss about that one. So next, based on that CNN, RCNN has implemented. So based on RCNN, fast RCNN, faster RCNN, mask RCNN, YOLO models, and SST models. So many algorithms are invented by research people. Okay, so we are going to discuss one by one Okay, so with respect to this OD algorithms, so first one is our CNN. So before going to the deep dive into this one CNN architecture, so we need to know one simple video with respect to CNN. Okay, so just I want to show you here. This is the 2D animation, 2D CNN animation here. Okay, so you can see here. Yeah, let me open it once. Okay. Yes. Okay, so this is simple 2D CNN architecture. So it has been means like animation for the proper understanding. Okay. So here, initially, if you see, I'm going to give this picture as input to the model. Okay, so how it is calculating, how or mathematical computation that output is what we need to get human being. In this picture, human being is there. Right. So how it is happening, right, like that. So before going to that one, I need to explain about images. Okay, there are generally two types of images as we know. Okay, one is the black and white images, another one is the color image always. So black and white images are having the black spots and white spots in that particular image. Again, image is a combination of the pixels. Okay, and the combination of the image will produce the video. Right. So that we all know. Okay, so if you see the black and white picture here, right, so for 0, for white we are taking it as 255, and for black we are taking the 0, right. So in the case of color image, there are three channels generally. One is the green, red, and the blue. So combination of these three color will produce the different color. That is the color intensity. Based on color intensity, we can generate the different color. Right. So so that is clear. Okay. So when I give this input image to the CNN network, convolution neural network, so what happens inside this one? Okay. So when I give this input, first the convolution layer will be produced. So how it is producing inside? Okay, so for that, for generating of the CNN layer, so we are using some kernels, or we can also call it as filters. Okay, so here in images we are having some values, in filter also we are having some values. Okay, so there are so many types of filters are there. So based on our requirement, we need to choose the filter here. Okay, so first filter, which is simply sliding over input image, right. So it is simply sliding over input image. So you can see here it is sliding, and it is going to produce some other images from the original image, and another sliding, so another filter which is convolved, right. So which is sliding over the input image, and it is going to produce another image. Right, so like that, I am going to use 4 filters or 4 kernels, and which are going to produce 4 different images from the input image. Okay, so you can see here. Okay, so first, first image, first filter, which is convolved on that input image, it is going to produce 1, 2, 3, 4.
According to Computer Hope,
Okay.
Charles Babbage designed the first mechanical printer in the
Like
1800s,
that. So,
produced with a difference engine that he also developed in 1822. The typewriter was considered a precursor to printers and keyboards.
Okay, so these we are calling it as feature maps or response map, or also called as convolution map. Okay, so you can see from the first filter, image is little bright, is like a lighter in color. Okay, but even though this kernel is capturing some information from this original image, If you see the second filter, again it is a little bit darker. Third is again it is a little bit darker. So each and every filters which are trying to get some information from the image, input image. Okay, so these generally we are calling it as feature maps. So once it is done, these feature maps will be sending to the pooling layer. Okay, so we all know that swimming pool, that is a collection of little water, right? So instead of having a large amount, we are going to reduce that to the smaller amount for the easiest way to do the mathematical computation, or else it will be very complex for the larger data set. To reduce that one, to avoid that one, we need to fix some pooling layer here. Okay, so if you can see here 126 into 126 into 4 channels are there, 4 feature maps are there of dimension 126 height and 126 width, and it has been reduced to 63 into 63 into 4. So automatically dimension reduced, the computation time definitely will reduce. Okay, so one, we have seen the convolution layer. Second one is our pooling layer, right? So again I'm going to add some convolution layer. So what happens here? So I'm adding 2 convolution layer and 2 max pool layer here. Okay, so you can see here, this is the general process in the CNN architecture always. Okay, so once we got the pooling layer and the convolution layer, we are going to give those layers to the fully connected layer, FCN, fully connected layer. Okay, so whatever we have discussed about the neural network, that is the neurons, we are going to get here. Okay, so it has to be flattened because which are in different dimensions, so that has to be flattened, and finally those information will be sending to the FCN layer. Okay, so here in the FCN layer we are having, this is one layer and second layer and the output layer, like that. So we can have many layer, means automatically it will be deep neural network. Okay, so from one neuron to another neuron which is in the second layer is totally interconnected. So each and every neuron in the first layers which are connected to the each and every neuron of the second layer. Okay, so like that, so from each neuron it is sending information to the another neurons. Okay, so finally what we got here, so you can see the output here, cat is 0.05, that is probability value here. Okay, so dog is 0.1, horse is 0.15, but human is 0.7. So if the probability value is more, means, so we can say person in that particular image, okay, is a human. Object in the particular image is a human. Okay, so if you add these, all these, we can get the final value as 1. Okay, so which activation function generally we are using to get these probability values? So that is the most important thing here, that is our softmax activation function. Softmax value is always from 0 to 1. Right, so this is the simple and very important basic architecture of this CNN. Okay, so let's move with this is the simple 2D diagram. So whatever I have explained in the previous slide, the same thing. So convolution layer is there again, and again you can see here a Rayleigh activation function I am using here in the convolution layer, and the pooling layer is there and the fully connected layer. Okay, so from this architecture we know that in this CNN architecture we are having 3 layers, important layers: CNN layer, pooling layer, and the FCN layer. Just try to remember this one. So whenever I have given the image as input to the model, it is finally going to give output as in terms of probability values. That is, you can see here 0.7 is zebra. Okay, so when it is possible to give, when the model is trained on that particular data set, the model initially it has trained the lakhs or thousands of data of this particular image or only on with respect to animals, okay, then only model is it is capable to recognize the input image is zebra, right? I think it's easy, right? Okay, so next I'm going to discuss with the higher version of CNN, a reason based convolution neural network. Okay, so first, what is this one? First of all, so whenever we are going to give some input image, it has to give the output. So what are all the things which are there in that particular image? That is our objective, business objective, right? So RCNN, reason based convolution neural network, it is totally based on the CNN, but we are adding something here, a region, sorry, it's region. Okay, so region, I think we need to take some regions here, definitely, right? Okay, so it uses a selective search to extract these boxes from an image, and these boxes generally we are calling it as regions. Okay, so when I give an input image to the model, here three objects are there. One, hat is there, person is who is sitting on the horse, and third one is a horse. Okay, output, what should be the output here? It has to detect hat, person, and the horse, right? So instead of going with the feature maps, I'm going to consider some regions here, region of interest from the RPN layer, region proposal network. So these regions, okay, so having some information with respect to the input image. So wherever the image is there, these boxes are collecting that particular image, right? So like that, we are having 2000 regions here of a different size. So these regions which are convolved on this particular image, and each regions are collecting some information, right? So it is not going with the pixel level, it is not going with the pixel level. First of all, try to remember that one. It is going with the regions. Okay, so if you consider one region is there, so it is collecting some information, generally we are calling it as region of interest. If there is no image, definitely it will not capture, or it will not give it as a region of interest. So like that, we are having 2000 region of interest here, right? So once it is done, once we got the region of interest, so we are going to wrap those regions. So why we need to do that one? So as we have discussed in the last image, so this region of interest are which are all in the different dimension. So those dimensions we have to convert to the similar dimension. For that, we are going to use a wrapped image region, or flatten. We can say we are going to flatten those regions to the similar dimension, and these images will be sending to the convolution neural network, as we have discussed in the previous step, previous architecture. Okay, so once it is done, and in the final stage of this architecture, we are having bounding box regression and the SPM. So what is the use of these two here? Bounding box, wherever the object is there, simply it is going to generate the bounding box with some color. And SVM is a support vector machine. Again, it is different algorithm to classify the object, right? So those are all different. Okay, so just we need to concentrate on this architecture. So I'm going to take the input image, and I'm going to get some region of interest here, and we'll be sending to the convolution neural network, and finally in the last step, so it is going to produce the, or generating the bounding box with respect to images, with respect to object in that particular image, and classification of that particular objects. Okay, so this is related to the region based convolution neural network. So this algorithm is having some disadvantages, Definitely yes. Okay, so even though we are not going to use this algorithm in the most of the real time practical cases. Okay, so what are all the disadvantages? Okay, for each and every image, it has to generate 2000 region of interest, right? 2000 region of interest, the 2000 ROIs. It is very complex. So if n images are there, if n images are there, n into 2000 regions. Okay, so for each and every image, it is going to take 40 to 50 seconds to give output. Okay, so if you do the input, finally output will be produced, so those processing time is 40 to 50 seconds. So what if I'm going to take the larger data set? Is it is highly impossible. Okay, so the people again came up with some other algorithm that we can call it as fast RCNN, right? As the name indicates, which is faster than reason based convolution neural network, right? So what makes it different? Fast RCNN, yes, okay. So if it is fast means there must be some additional component, right? So what is that one? Okay, so that is our, instead of giving feature maps, instead of taking the reason of interest to the convolution neural network, so initially I'm going to take convolution neural network and I'm going to produce some feature maps here. So from those feature maps I will get region of interest, ROIs. Okay, so it's like a trial and error method. Okay, so instead of keeping this CNN layer in the last, so in the initial stage only I'm going to take, right? So image is there, we are giving, supplying to the CNN network, which is going to produce some feature maps. So these feature maps, from these feature maps we are getting some reason of interest. Okay, and those will be connected to the fully connected layer. And finally, linear plus softmax layer, as we have discussed, which are giving the probability value, and bounding box regressor, which is generating the bounding box. Okay, so simply they have reversed the architecture and they done some experiments. Again, the first RCNN, which is for which the performance is better than RCNN. Okay, so there are two issues with respect to the RCNN. RCNN, its performance is very less compared to the fast RCNN. So instead of using three models in the RCNN, only one model we are using in the fast RCNN. Okay, so passing one instead of 2000 reasons per image to the convolutional neural network. Right. So even though this much of invention has been done with respect to fast RCNN, even though it has some disadvantages or issues with the fast RCNN. So what are those? First one is, it is so as we have discussed, it is totally selective search method to find the region of interest, right? So for each and every image, it is going to take 2 seconds to detect the objects in that particular image. Again, the human beings, okay, human beings are not satisfied with this result also. Okay, so I think this may not be work properly with respect to the larger data set. So what is the solution for that one? How we can resolve that one? The problem we can resolve by using the faster RCNN. Don't think after faster RCNN we are going to get the fastest RCNN. Okay, it is something different, so we will discuss that one. So what makes this faster RCNN most relevant for the object detection? Okay, so basic is same, we are using the CNN network, but we are adding one other component, that reason proposal network. This is the most important component with respect to fast RCNN. Okay, so it is as we know that it is advanced version of the fast RCNN. Okay, so when we give some image to the model, or this algorithm, it will give the output, right? So inside this architecture, how it is going to process. Okay, so we'll look into that one. So input image I am going to give, from that input image convolution layer, right? So from this convolution layer we are getting some feature maps. So these feature maps, here you can see here redirected here, these feature maps are going to interact with the reason proposal network, and these feature maps also going to ROI pooling, right? So here we need to know this one, reason proposal network. So how it is working, right? So it is doing some mathematical calculation and all. So we need to know that one. So we'll go with the reason proposal network. So what actually it is doing? Okay, so when the feature maps are getting developed from the CNN layer, okay, the window will create, simply sliding window, and it is going to generate some K anchor boxes. Okay, K anchor boxes, and we can also call it as a region of interest here. A region of interest of the different dimension. You can see here different width and the height. Okay, so each and every anchor boxes are gathering some information here. That may be edge, that may be color intensity, like that. So each and every anchor boxes are collecting some information, and those information will be sending forward. Okay, so before going to that one, this different dimension has to be convert to the similar dimension. Okay, so this is the intermediate layer generally we are using to convert to proper dimension, and these images will be sending to the next model. Okay, so in the final output we are going to get the scores, that is the probability value of that particular object in an image, and we are going to get the bounding boxes for those objects. Okay, so just by adding this RPN layer, so it is going to make a lot of changes with respect to that algorithm. Okay, so we can see here, initially reason based CNN, it has taken 49 seconds to detect objects in an image. But if you see the SPP net, it has taken 4.3 seconds. Fast RCNN has taken only 2.3 seconds. But if you see the faster RCNN, it has taken only 0.2 seconds to detect the objects. Okay, so it's a good achievement, we can say, right? So next, even though it is detecting the object with a lesser time, in most of the application, we are not going with these algorithms again. So what is the reason behind that one? Okay, so first of all, it is not looking at the complete image at once. Alright, so it is like a sliding window method. So convolution method it is totally. Okay, and many passes for each and every image we need to connect each and every model over there. Okay, so what happens if that has been done, right? So if one model is not performing well, the next model again it will not perform well. Okay, so it is totally one model performance is totally based on the previous model. Right. So that is the reason generally we are not going to use this faster RCNN. Yes, we can use, but some places, means wherever the this object detection is not important, or okay for taking more time also, means no problem, means we can use this faster RCNN. Right. So problem with all this algorithm generally. So if you see in that particular image, there is a notebook. It is creating the bounding box for laptop, for coffee, and for iPhone. Right. So can we do segmentation for this particular image, particular objects in an image? Absolutely yes. So how it is possible? How it can be accomplished? By using mask RCNN. So generally we are having daily we are using mask here for our nose and mouth. Okay, in the same manner, we can easily segment or we can easily mask for that particular object in an image. So that is mask RCNN algorithm.
In autonomous vehicle software, deep
Okay,
neural networks
so
are often
just
trained to detect.
I would like to show you one simple video related to this mask RCNN. Okay, with it is almost implemented in the STC cars. Okay, when the car is moving, it is going to fill with some different color for this car only. Again, for this car, again it is different color. For this car, again it is different color. For human beings, again it is different colors. Okay, so it's like a pixel level segmentation has been happened with respect to mask RCNN. Okay, so mask RCNN, it is a extended version of the faster RCNN, but it is pixel level segmentation. Okay, so it is also creating the bounding box, and it is a it has done with segmentation also. Okay, for the more accuracy, so generally we are going with mask RCNN. So how it is happening? Okay, so before going to that one, in the mask RCNN, generally we are having two types of segmentation. One is our instant segmentation, second one is our semantic segmentation. So when I give this input to the model, simply it is going to color with the same, it is filled with the same color here, you can see. Okay, so generally we are calling it as semantic segmentation, but it is going to color, it is going to fill some color with a different color. Fill with a different color means we are generally calling it as instant segmentation. Right. So how this mask RCNN works? Okay. So each and everything from the fast RCNN architecture is almost the same, but we are adding one more component, that is it is going to predict the segmentation mask by using one small FCN, fully connected network. Okay, so it is going to generate some binary mask for each class independently, and it will give segmentation along with the classification and with the labeled one using the softmax activation function here. Right, so we can see here, as we have discussed, we are going to add one more component, that is a smaller FCN component to mask. Okay, so it is going to detect pixel level with respect to already bounding box we got. Okay, we have generated the bounding box by using some regressor, bounding box regressor. But inside the bounding box, again, this one component, this inside this component, with respect to bounding box, it is going to take each and every pixel of that particular object in an image, and it is going to fill with different color. Okay, just by adding one more component here. Okay, so this is a reason of interest. Already we have discussed about this one. So generally we are using some CNN VZZ16 network. So what is this one? VZZ16, which has won the prize in some competition. That is the CNN. Some the people used to conduct some conferences or competitions to check the accuracy of that particular object, accuracy of the particular algorithm, and this VZZ16 has won prize. Okay, so this is already pre-trained model. This is already pre-trained model. So instead of training the model from the scratch, we can use the pre-trained model here. Okay, so instead of scratch, instead of taking from the scratch, so I'm going to use the VGG16 network, and it has some weights. Okay, so once it is going to insert it here, which will produce the feature maps. Okay, and from this RPN, it is going to produce some ROI regions, and these regions will be connected to the FCN layer, and from this FCN layer we will have some softmax and the bounding box regressor, so which will give the final probability value for that particular objects. Right, so next backbone architecture for this one. Generally, so which backbone architecture generally we are using? So in the previous case I have used CNN network as a CNN of this VZZ16 network. Okay, so that is the backbone network architecture. So we can use this ResNet also, ResNet, and the feature pyramid network like that. So we can use. Next, another one, the most important topic or algorithm in the case of object detection is our YOLO models. Right, it is also object detection algorithm. There is no doubt at all. Okay, so YOLO models, abbreviation of this YOLO is you only look once. So when the model, when this algorithm is look once, finally it is going to give the output as the output with the bounding box and some probability value. So it is not using kernels, like that means a sliding window method is absolutely not present here. Okay, that's why it is named as a you only look once, that is the YOLO models. Okay, so what makes it different? So is it better than the reason based CNN? Yes, definitely it is better and more accurate, and which is faster also. And the learning capability is more compared with the other algorithms. Okay, so which techniques generally we are using with respect to the YOLO model? Okay, so first one is the first component in the case of YOLO model is the residual blocks. So what is the meaning of this one? So if you so this is one image, just I'm going to taking it as the input image, and this input image will entering into the architecture. Okay, so once it is done, the architecture or that algorithm is going to divide this input image with some grids, S into S grid or M into N grid, like that we can, with the same dimension here. Okay, you can see here, this is the input image. The algorithm has divided this input image with some grids. Okay, so this is the first step in the case of YOLO model. So second one, here each and every grids, you can see here this person is there, grid is color, this grid color has been changed, here also grid color has been changed. So each and every grids are responsible for object detection in that particular grid. Right, so this grid, it has to detect whether the object is there or not inside that grid. It has to detect. That is that grid's responsibility. Right. So like that, each and every grids are capable of detecting the object within it. Okay. So once it is done, second one is our bounding box regressor. So next model or the next step will generate the bounding box with some heights and depth. So we can see here. Okay, the probability value, bounding box along x-axis, y-axis, width, like that, confidence value. Okay, so that work has been taken with using the bounding box regression. And third one is the intersection over union. So this is very important, and along with that one, generally we are having non-maximum suppression layer. Right, so now intersection over union. So you can see here, one is blue bounding box and another one is the green bounding box. So green is right one, right? This is the cat, it is showing it is right. So blue is totally wrong. So how we need to detect this one? So how we need to calculate this one? So generally by using the intersection over union layer or non-maximum suppression layer, we can use that also. So area of overlap to the area of union. So if area, so we are area of overlap. So these two bounding boxes are overlapping with each other. So at what is the value of that area, we need to insert here in the numerator, and then the denominator area of union. So what is this total area, we need to give the value in the denominator. So once this value, if it is more than the threshold value, so while building the algorithm, while the building the model, we need to give some IOU threshold value. So if that particular value, which is more than the threshold value, right? So whatever the value we are getting from this IOU, which is more than the threshold value, so it is going to give it as a, it is generating the green line, green line on that particular object, or else it will simply discard that one. Right. So that is the main function of this IOU layer. So these are all the three components we are using with respect to YOLO models. So the YOLO models are having some variants here. One is YOLO V1, YOLO V2, YOLO V3, YOLO V5, YOLO V4 also we are using. So from one version to another version, there is a little bit changes with respect to the CNN. Okay, so with respect to V1, it uses some darknet framework. Okay, so darknet framework is a open source neural network framework. Okay, some neural networks are already ready-madely available. Okay, like that. So I'm going to use one pre-trained neural network. I'm going to use it as the ImageNet only for the YOLO V1 variant. And even though I'm using this one, this model is it is not capable of finding the small objects in an image. Again, it is the drawback of that particular variant. So I'm going to deal with the second variant of this YOLO model is YOLO V2, also called as YOLO 9000. Okay, so it has been published by the Joseph Redmond and Ali Faradi at the end of 2016. Okay, so what makes it different from the YOLO V1? So instead of using less layers in the darknet architecture, so I'm going to use more CNN layers. Right, as the CNN layers are increasing, the model accuracy definitely will increase. But along with that one, the computation time also will increase. That we need to remember here. Right. So in this YOLO V2, so I'm going to use a darknet 19 architecture. So what is the meaning of this 19? 19 CNN layers and 5 maxpool layers. Okay, the people has not stopped there only, means to V2 only. So again they come up with the YOLO V3. Same in the process, the components are same, only we are going to change the CNN network, that is the darknet 53 network here. So 53 CNN layers we are using. Right, so like that for the YOLO V4 we are using CSPD darknet 53. It is like another component we can add to this network to get the more accurate, or we to make that network to learn the smaller objects. Right, so again YOLO V5, it is still in the implementing stage. Okay, so you can see here the comparison of different algorithms, okay, with respect to the frames APS. So YOLO, it can collect the more frame per second compared to other algorithms. Okay, another one is there, the SSD, single slot detection. It is also like a one time, it is looking only once at a image. It is also not like a reason based convolution neural network. Right. So next, if you come with the accuracy comparison, the YOLO is giving more accuracy compared to the other architectures. Right. So these are all some comparison with respect to each and every algorithms in object detection. So even though we are having these many algorithms, we are facing some challenges here. So what are those? First one is the intra-class detection. So what is meaning of this one? So if the model is trained on that particular data set, if you give an image of chair, yes, it can detect it is chair. So what if different types of chairs are there? right? Different types of chairs are having different names here, right? So the model, it is not that much capable to find the intra-class objects, right? That is the one challenge. And second one is the occlusion. If the images are overlapping one another, so again the model accuracy definitely will reduce. Okay, so these are all the challenges. We can take these challenges, we can work on this one. There is no problem. So next one is our YOLO condition. So sorry, illumination condition. If it is the dark light, if sun is there, yes, model is able to detect that one. But in the darker, light darker, so it is not possible to detect the objects. Okay, it can detect, but accuracy is not that much good. Okay, so next one is the cluttered or the textured background. If in a particular image, so many objects are there, right? So the model is not getting the proper information from that objects, and it is unable to find the object. Okay, and the speed of the object, yes, it is also some other challenge with respect to OD. Okay, so still some research is going on with respect to to detect the smaller objects. Okay, so conclusion. So what we have learned. So what are all the things we come up with till now. Okay, so first one, we came up with different types of algorithms in AI and ML, that is supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement, and object detection algorithms, and how the architectures are there, different architecture with respect to OD. Okay, so even though we can do some modification with respect to each and every algorithms by changing the loss function, by changing the different convolution layers or some pooling layer, or to enhance the accuracy of that particular model, right? So we have, as we have discussed in the last slide, we have some challenges. So to solve that one, we can use a different architecture, different pre-trained models to detect the smaller objects. Okay, so I think you have gained much knowledge related to the object detection and the related algorithms. Okay, so if you have any queries, please we can interact with the chat box. Okay, thank you one and all. Okay, so if you have any questions, please ask in the chat box and broadcast.